pop them colors. Alright, so Panfish over on the Panfish channel asked me on Twitter about popping colors. I'm telling you, once you get beyond using just little GoPro cameras and your cell phone, you have a whole world of choices once you get a true SLR camera or a mirrorless camera like I have with my GH4. The question is, you have so many choices to make, what do you do? What's being recorded right now is the standard color profile. I'm shooting with a Lumix Panasonic GH4. Some people use Canon, some people use Nikon, some people use any number of cameras like this, and they all have what they're called picture profiles. Specific ways that they capture or render colors for various situations, and you don't need to just turn on the camera and use it, otherwise you should just keep your GoPro. You need to look at your colors artistically and for the purpose. It always depends on the purpose. This standard color profile is what I use when I'm doing videos like this, either talking head videos or videos where what we call quick turnaround. There's basically two types of videos that I do. That's videos where I'm just gonna record a tutorial, a how-to video, or do a talking head video, change something on my engine, those, you know, or building the boat. Those will be shot in the standard picture profile because those are meant to be shot, produced, edited, and put out on YouTube very quick. I could produce 5 of these a week if I wanted. The second type of video I do is a much higher quality video, like my fishing adventure videos. I will shoot in a completely color different profile, usually cinema like V, and I will color grade that in post to give you that nice, because I want it to look like the old 16mm motion picture film. It's more artistic and it takes more time, and so I can't crank those out. I can maybe produce 1 of those a week, and that's a lot. Okay, now this is the vivid profile. Almost all cameras are gonna have a vivid profile, basically a very contrasted image. In other words, the darks are a lot darker and the brights are a lot brighter, and it pops. That's what you mean by pop. Pop either means a high contrast or high saturation. You need to learn a little bit about colors, and I would recommend a book called the DSLR Filmmakers Handbook. The guy explains lots about colors. Saturation means the colors are really, there's a lot more color. It's like neon almost, right? Whereas a desaturated image is closer to you're just taking more color out of it. You know, that's one of the reasons why I don't like the Panasonic colors so much, because they're almost always too saturated straight out of the camera. Panfish was saying, oh man, he likes the vivid profile on his Sony action camera, and Canon, there should be some sort of vivid color profile on the M50, because he just got a new M50. This is the vivid on the GH4. I don't use it much. I just don't like it. I don't vivid. So let's move on. This is the natural profile. This is my favorite profile on the camera, period. I don't use it actually that often, but I love it the best because it renders my skin tones and everything in a more true to life, this is what my eyes see sort of image. It looks sort of plain Jane-ish. It's probably called neutral in Canon, or I know it's called neutral in Nikon. In Panasonic nomenclature, they call it natural. I'll use it in a situation where I am going to be shooting a tutorial video that can also be used in B-roll in my fishing adventure films, like teaching somebody about circle hooks or something. And I know I can use that footage if I am planning to use that footage as B-roll or even A-roll, because I want to get the footage out quickly. The colors are already baked in, but not so much. I can still do some things in post-production. It's black and white. Good old school black and white. You saw this in, you know. Oh my gosh, that big old pine tree is dead. Oh, and we got tornadoes coming tonight. I like to use this sometimes in my Philosophy Fridays videos, like you saw the one I did about what is heaven like. You know, it's great, you know. Black and white has a place. Not everything has to be in color. Sometimes color gets in the way. Sometimes you need to pull out the color and get to the true nature of it. And if you really want to master how to use contrast, shoot in black and white. All right, so scenery. This is, I think this is their landscape image. Most of you in Nikon or Canon probably have landscape color profile. This is used for those. I probably could use this in those grand, sort of my establishing shots, but I don't, because I just don't like it. I really don't. I'd rather do something else. I don't ever use. You might like it. If you like it, use it. I don't use it. I think it's. This is portrait. This is meant purely for skin tones. It's like almost like the opposite of landscape. Landscape is all about the landscape. Portrait is all about human skin tone colors. It's really meant to render the skin tones really well, but it sacrifices everything else, which is not what I really like to do. Okay, so this is Cinema Like D. I absolutely hate this profile. A lot of people, a lot of filmmakers have used this profile incredibly successfully, but I can't never get the skin tones right. I'm not a colorist. This is set to the Noam, I forget what that fellow's name, Noam I think is his name. Saturation, noise reduction, and sharpness are -5. Contrast is set to 0, I think. The only time I use this is if it's almost sunset or almost early morning, where there's still low light, you're just getting a little bit more dynamic range. These cinema-like profiles in these cameras try to fake a log profile. A logarithmic profile is, you know, these big expensive cinema cameras shoot everything flat. It almost looks black and white. If you know, that's how, if you notice this, it almost looks black and white. A logarithmic profile, or a log profile, or V-log, is what Panasonic uses. A C-log is what Canon uses. Nikon has their N-log. Fuji has their, well, I guess it's the F-log. Sony has an S-log. A couple of different gammas and things like that. They're designed to make it look like motion picture film, like when you go to the movies. It's raw footage that looks ugly and is meant to be color graded. Or you can do the, so now you should see it looks a lot more beautiful, a lot more awesome. That's what it's designed to do. It's not designed to look, the colors are not baked in. That's the main point. Colors are not baked in. They're meant to look ugly out of the camera so that you can do whatever you want to in post-production. The thing is, it sort of fakes a log profile. It's not the real thing. It's somewhere between raw footage that's recorded directly from the sensor and the baked in colors that you see on the other profiles. This is somewhere in between. So log profiles and the cinema-like profiles are somewhere between those two things. Log is more like raw, cinema-like, film-like, cinema-like is more like the baked in profiles. It just depends. It gives you more latitude. Vulcan Cinema, Cinema Like V. This is another cinema profile, and it renders the skin tones much better. This is what I use. All my fishing adventure videos out on the river and all the A-roll and even the B-roll is just shot in Cinema Like V, and I'll put the settings in below. It's probably the contrast is -5, noise reduction -5, sharpness -5, saturation -2. It's either -2 or 3. I think it's -3. And this gives me a nice base image to work with in post-production, which looks like this, or like this, or like this. You know, lots of different lookup tables that I use, and this is what I use all the time. Again, so what images do I use most of the time in this camera? I have 3 profiles: standard profile, natural profile, Cinema Like V. And basically that's it. That's those 3. If I only could use 3 film profiles, that's what I would use. Cinema Like V for my fishing adventure videos, natural profile where I'm gonna record footage that can be used either for a quick turnaround video and also be used in the fishing adventure videos, so it matches better in terms of color. And then standard picture profile for generally stuff like this where it's nothing but quick turnaround. Back to standard, you know, quick turnaround. So if you like this kind of content, if you are ready to go to a different level in terms of your shooting and your editing and your color correction and color grading, and you're or someone who's have a mirrorless camera and you're just wanting to get the most out of it, tell me what you think. I've been shooting some video of a guide that I'm going to put on my Teachable page, a premium product where you follow me behind the scenes as I plan, shoot, edit, color correct, color grade, produce, promote, and one of my fishing adventure videos. And if that's interesting to you, let me know. Put comments down below. Again, it'll be on the Teachable page. It will be a paid product, just to let you know. And also, what topics do you think have to be covered? If there's 2 things I have to cover in that guide, what does it have to be? All right. Many of you fishermen or hunters, you know what it's like to have a guide to take you on a guided trip. Let's say you're going to go on a bear hunt. Remember bear meat? The guy who went on that had a guide to show him. These are where we're going to find the bear, and they got 2 bear that day, and I got to eat some meat, and you got to see a video on that. Your fishing guide, if you were going to go to Alaska or something on a dream salmon, dream fly fishing trip, you would want a guide to show you because you don't know where to go. It's new. Right? So the same thing is if you have a camera and you want to get the most out of it and you want to show these colors and pop these colors and really show a much higher quality image, why not have a guide to show you how to do it? Someone like me who's gone before and can help you and steer you toward other resources to help. If that's something that's interesting to you, let me know down in the comments, and I will probably be rolling that out fairly soon if people seem to be interested in it. This is just for the 1% of the audience here who'd be interested in that, because I really wouldn't be able to cover that here on the YouTube channel because it just doesn't quite fit, because most people are not interested in cameras. That's why I would rather have it over on the Teachable page. Let me know, and I will talk to you guys later.